So thank you again for joining us today, Dame Rachel, and for sharing your thoughts on the current situation on inequality in education and your findings from the Big Ask in the speech. So in the speech, you mentioned the cradle to career approach in supporting young people, which I found really interesting. It really resonated with me. So I was wondering if you could elaborate on this a bit more.
Yeah, so I mean, I was referring in my speech particularly to a school called Reach out in Feltham that literally starts engaging with the parents of its future students when, you know, the mothers are pregnant and they're coming to the NCT classes. So they put on everything from, you know, early help for families, and they go right the way through. Now, I'm really inspired by that because I think there's so much that we can do in the classroom, and I really believe in the power of education. And, you know, great nursery education, great education is great, but we also know if we put in that early intervention and help families who are struggling early, we can keep them together, help them thrive, help parents thrive as parents, help children thrive. And that's why I was really pleased to see, actually, in the spending review, it was something I'd really argued for coming out of the Big Ask, a substantial amount of money going into family hubs, help with early education. It is the answer. Now, we could talk the other side as well, but I think that kind of cradle to career, you know, in the Big Ask, children talk to us about their passion for getting a good job and wanting to know about the world. So I think there's a whole lot of things schools do and can do about linking with apprenticeship offers, you know, really helping young people know what options are out there. So that was a bit of a summary, but those are the things I think I'm very passionate about.
That sounds amazing. It definitely resonated with me, the whole sense of continuity. So when I was at secondary school, there wasn't a lot of information on what we could do post 16, let alone information on university. So when it meant that I reached sixth form, a lot of the time was spent on independently researching what I could do next and what my options were.
Do you know, Anisa, so many children and young people in the Big Ask sort of put as a priority just wanting to know more about their options and what jobs and careers there are. And I've worked in so many places where there are fantastic employers. For example, in Great Yarmouth, you've got the whole offshore industry with tons of jobs, not just engineers, a massive range of jobs. And actually, you know, children and young people in school not really understanding and able to connect up to that, or understanding what courses they needed to do that. Now, one of the things I'd like to do is get business and industry far more engaged with schools and actually start working on pathways, getting to know young people, to get those jobs in training. Everyone doesn't have to go to university. There are lots of different options. And I think when it comes to universities, I think we need to be far clearer and more transparent about what actually is on offer to young people, and help, you know, 16 to 18-year-olds and younger really make the right decision for them.
I most definitely agree with that. I'm going to pass over to Alfie now to ask the next question.
Yeah, thank you, Anisa, and thank you for that answer. I think it's really interesting that you mentioned that sort of a great education isn't just about schools, it's about the whole wraparound support from engaging parents, the community, sort of role models within the community, and healthcare and social care and all those other sort of factors. I wonder as well, how can you listen to, involve and engage young people to really get this sort of, you know, achieve the actions that you've outlined?
So I think the first thing I did when I became Children's Commissioner was listen to children. I knew that was what we had to do. We'd just been through this sort of, you know, once in a lifetime, you know, world pandemic, and I wasn't seeing enough, I think, of the adults talking to children, whether that was government or others, you know, in public places. So that listening was really important. And you know what? I was so overwhelmed by the size of the response. Now, it did help that I got Marcus Rashford to help me launch the thing, but still, over 500,000 responses shows that children and young people really do want their voices heard. So my thing is, absolutely, we should consult children and talk to children and seek their views on every policy, the Department for Education and other departments that you know, do things for children. We should definitely consult them, seek their views.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know it's something we talked about on the strategy group about, the youth engagement group. It's all about not just listening to young children, but like you say, really understanding their perspectives, treating them as equal collaborators, not just listening to them and sort of discarding their ideas. I think that's really interesting.
And Alfie, I would say one of the things I'm trying to do at the moment is go out and share the findings of the survey with young people and show them. I spent the whole summer talking to different government departments about what children have said. And I think trying to find really good ways to give that feedback back to children and show what has happened, because I think you could get a bit fed up sometimes and think everyone asks me my views, but no one does anything. And I think we need to really communicate that feedback well. Look, we took your views. This is what happened. This was the outcome. And there are some really big things. I'm surprised and really happy about how many government ministers and cabinet ministers want to hear what children are saying. It's not a like we're not interested. So I think there's a job for us all to do to get those voices up there and get the communication going both ways.
I'd just like to finish off by thanking you for your time and for being a part of the annual summit.
It's my privilege. Thanks, and hope to see you both soon. Thank you.
Thank you.